Hello, Tony again here from Homa. Today we're going to talk about our Go switch, and we're going to specifically talk about the GS1050 three-phase and how to wire it to the terminal block from the cable. So I have two cables here. I have the FM cable, which you'll see is all black wires, and they're labeled 1 through 7, and then we put wire markers on it, UVW for power, and then we have S1, S2 for our seal, and we have the 2 T's for our thermal, and then green for ground. Again, that's our FM cable. So if you get all black leads, you know you have FM cable. A non-FM cable is color-coded, and they'll be marked with power, grounds, and control cables. We also put markers on it, UVW for the power, S1, S2, and in this case they would be white and orange is our leakage, and we have the 2 T's from the control side, which are red and black, which are our thermals, and then green for ground. So you have the 2 different cables, non-FM color-coded and marked, and then FM, which are all black leads, which are numbered but also marked with the UVW sign. So we're going to look at, and you can pick up the Homa Go switch literature and wiring off the extranet under the technical specification tab, and we can go in there, and it's going to give you a description of how to wire it up and what channel A is and what channel B is. We're also going to have to give it some type of supply voltage. And given it the supply voltage, we're going to use terminals 5 and 6 on the terminal block itself, and they're labeled, okay? And you can give it 24 volts to 240 volts AC or 24 to 48 volts DC. So you can either give AC voltage or DC voltage there to power this, right? So that's always going to go to 5 and 6. The other 4 terminals that we're going to work with are 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Again, on the block. And they're labeled 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is always thermals. So if I was working with my FM cable, I'm going to look for my T's because I know my T's are thermals. I'm going to bring those wires in under 1 and 2. Now, it doesn't matter which one of these I use because I'm just working with the normally closed circuit. And then I'm going to take S1 and S2, which are my leakage, and I'm going to bring them to 3 and 4. And again, it doesn't matter which one, S1 or S2, I put on 3 or 4, but I'll usually put S1 on 3, only because then S2 would go to 4. It's just what I would do. So I put my thermals to 1 and 2, and I put my leakage, S1, S2, to 3 and 4. Now, in a lot of cases, you're not going to bring just the wires from this cable up to here. This block will most likely be wired in or ready for you, going down to a main terminal block where your power and your control cables are going to. The wires that are coming off here should be labeled down below as T's and S1 and S2. Okay? But for this demonstration, I just want to show you where they go on this block. So again, we do that. My outputs will be able to see how to hook it up on channel A and B, if it's normally closed, which block terminal you go to, or if it's a normally open switch, which ones you go to. Those outputs will already be wired into your control also for the fault sensing that you're going to pick up. Okay, and every control is probably different on that. And then at the end of it, you're just going to plug in your Go switch. Okay, again, that was an FM cable. To do the non-FM, we're going to do the same thing. Just one more time. We'll get rid of this FM, and we're going to go to the non-FM. Remember, we're putting white markers on here, but a lot of times the white little markers will come off. So if you were to look at the cable, they're also stamped with control and power. Okay? Because if it runs off, you have two whites. You have one white that's a power, and you have one white that's a control. So we don't want to put the wrong one in the wrong spot. Okay? So if these come off, you're looking for the white control, and you're looking for the red control. You can see the red control versus what you would get with power red. Right? And the same would happen with your blacks. All right? You have a power black and you have a control black. So if these should happen to fall off in shipping or as you're stripping the end of the cable off, you can also read it and see what you have. So you're not putting one of those cables in the wrong location. You're not putting power to the sensor instead of putting power to the winding. Okay? So again, we're going to look for control. I'm going to do 1 and 2 first. Those are my thermals. Okay, so that's going to be red and black. And I'm going to look for the control, the T and the T. Again, it doesn't matter which one I put where. Okay, if I was doing multiples, I'd want to be consistent in what I'm doing just so it's the same. I would probably go with red, then black. Again, that's just my preference. Then I'm going to take orange and white, my S2 and my S1. And again, I put S1 in 3, S2 and 4 for leakage. I'm still powering it the same on 5 and 6. And now you can see how I'm doing it for non-FM. You can see 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Outputs go where they're going. We plug it in, and that's how we put power and wire up our sensors to channel A and B for a go switch. Okay. If we had 2 sensors, let's say we had one in the oil chamber, one in the stator chamber, and you would take S3, put it with S1 under that terminal, and put S4 with S2 under that terminal. Okay. You would get a fault. You wouldn't necessarily know if it's in the oil chamber or in the stator chamber, but you would get that leakage.